We've got a 2014 Ford E-Series van. The customer brought this vehicle in because in high gear it was going into neutral. I know on these here that it's really common. It's got the 470W transmission. They like to break their snap ring on the servos that is underneath the valve body. Checked the transmission fluid on it, and the fluid was darker than I really like to see. It was pretty black. Typically, if we're going to do a repair, I like to be nice and red to know that the overdrive band didn't burn when that snap ring broke. But we're going to go ahead and drive it and then look at data stream on it just so we can verify that it is fourth gear and the gear ratio commands to see what they do when it starts slipping in fourth gear. Alrighty. Okay, so let's take off here and we'll put it on the scanner. So on the scan data, the top line, we've got gear command, which is going to just every time it shifts, it's going to change first, second, third. We got the gear ratio command and what is actually measured. And then we got if it's in gear, yes or no. Just because you have to do 4 lines on it, I just ended up picking that one as well. Not that we're really even going to look at it. And so right there, transmission just slipped out. Is it commanded into fourth gear? Should really have the RPM pit on there so you can see that as well. We turn the overdrive off, and then we just slow it down a little, let it command back into third gear. All right, so now we have overdrive off. And as long as we keep overdrive off, the vehicle is gonna not slip and it's gonna be okay. But as soon as we command it into fourth gear, all right, so we'll command it in. Now we're slipping. And you can see actual ratio versus measured ratio, and they're completely off from each other. If we go into third gear, you can see measured versus actual is much closer and they're not so far away from each other. Alright, so then we'll command fourth gear back in again. And then we can see it just revs out and doesn't want to go. So now we're just taking driver back to the shop that we did verify that it's fourth gear that's got the problem. Going through the beautiful Priest Point Park in Olympia, Washington. Nice little turnaround spot. Get our nice evergreens here in Washington. And it's like I was saying, because the fluid is so dark and black, I'm concerned about its ability, to be a successful repair of just replacing the snap ring on the overdrive servo, which is really common for them to break. But being that fluid is so dark, concerned that it may have more issues in it than just that snap ring broken. The other thing is, when that snap ring does break, you need to clean out the valve body because the little pieces of snap ring break off and go down in the valve body, and it'll hang the valves up. Which will cause the valve to hang up and you won't have fourth gear, or could cause other problems. So you want to put it all back together after putting a new servo and snap ring in it and then having an issue. But I think on this one here, we'll be recommending a transmission because that fluid is very, very dark and has kind of a burnt smell to it. This one might have broken away where it kind of jammed that overdrive band on and partly applied, thus damaging it. Now we're just cruising along, got our set in overdrive off so that we can make it back to the shop faster than 10 miles an hour, because it's basically just neutrals out and you just lose all speed. All right, hopefully that helps.